Good morning and welcome to Morning Brew. And yes, today is Friday. And if you don't know, Friday is Authors Brew Friday on Morning Brew with Germaine. So I have a surprise today. Yes, I do have a surprise today. So thank you. I know I'm running a few minutes late. It was taking me a few minutes to get it all together, but I'm here. So this is what the surprise is that me and my team we decided to do. We decided that every fourth Friday, we wanted to bring a special treat for those out there that have a desire to be an author, not really knowing how to be an author, but yes, we are making every fourth Friday of Authors Brew Friday. We are going to make it our new training by HOVP, which is Hope of Vision Publishing, will bring to you bite sized learning. It's a series for every fourth Friday sorry about that. I thought I turned it off. For every fourth Friday, we will be bringing you tips and how to and updates and really being able to venture into the world of turning your story into currency. So, hold on, we're going to dive a little more into it. I'm going to give a few minutes for people to chime in. So, if you're chiming in, I'm making my coffee right now, but I hope you can join in. If you are someone that has a desire that want to be a published author, a best-selling published author, well, you know what? You can stop by for coffee with me and we can get into it, especially on Fridays, every fourth Friday. And then Authors Brew Friday is where you have an opportunity to hear others tell their stories and how they had the courage to stand out and share their stories with the world. And stories come, like I say, stories are very colorful. They come in all different, I say, shapes, sizes, but stories are very colorful because the journey that we take in life, everybody has a different journey. But our stories are so relatable one to another. But you know what? We're going to get into it. So let's start talking about it. Hey, Anthony Jones 960 on Instagram. Thank you so much. I believe this may be your first time chiming in. So, welcome to Morning Brew with Germaine. And it is such a joy and a pleasure having you join in the community. Now, for those that are chiming in that are watching from a distance, I would love to have you just let me know if you are someone. Answer one in the comments if you are already a published author. Okay. Answer two in the comments if you are a best selling publishing author. Answer number three in the comments if you are someone that has a desire to be a published author, but you really don't know how. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to post it real quick to let me know. If one published author. Okay. And number two, best-selling published author. If this applies to you, right? I'm putting this in the comments. Because I really want to know. This is going to be helpful while we're doing this series. In number three, if you desire to be an author, published author. In number three, desire to publish or become, let's say that, become a published author. Now, I'm going to post this. I'll also put it over in Instagram also so you can get it too. Let me know if you are. Okay. So all you need to do is just put the comments in if you are going to participate in this. So I'm going to send this out and I'm going to also put it in Instagram. If you are chiming in, I don't know why. Let me see if this one will work. Instagram be on some other stuff. When I be trying to post comments and stuff, it won't let me. But Like right now, it's not letting me. Let's see if, oh, it did. Okay. So it did let me do it. All right, guys. So I'm sorry. Here we go. My coffee just stopped. So I'm going to get that together. If you are chiming in, I'm going to give you a few moments before we get into the HOV Publishing Bite Size Learning series for authors or those that desire to be an author. And I'm going to give you some tips that can help you along your journey. And also, how, if you're already a published author, I want to just expand and broaden your mindset for how you see your story going out in the ecosystem. Okay. So give me a second. Let me just grab my coffee and then we can talk through all of this. Let's see. Yes. So if you are chiming in, let me know. If one, you are already a published author. Number two, if you are already a best-selling published author. And number three, if you author, let me know. So I see we have others chiming in. Today is once again Authors Brew Friday. Normally we have an author in the studio, but what I decided to do, because a lot of people out there want to write books, but they don't know the steps, the how to, or the process with getting it done. So I decided to take every fourth Friday and make that our bite-sized learning, which will teach you on the publishing industry and how to become a best-selling published author. Okay. And just to give you a little bit of background for who I am, my name, once again, it's Germaine Miller Summers. I am the owner of HOV Publishing, or Hope of Vision Publishing. And with that being said, I've been in the business for over 16, well, actually, it's going on 18 years. 18 years in a business. I have built this business through referrals, over 500 um, authors through referrals, as well as a lot of best-selling authors and number one best-selling authors. So with that, I have such a passion for one story, and I believe everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. The only thing is, will everyone share their story with the world? That's the only thing. Well, a lot of times people think that no one really wants to hear about my story, right? So, what I want to do is show you the power in your story. And also, I want to be able to teach you that not just the power in your story, but how your stories are currency. People don't look at it like that. People may not look at it. And please, I don't want you to misunderstand when I say your stories are currencies. This isn't a quick get rich scheme or anything like that. Absolutely not. But what this is to show you the power in your story, the life that you have lived, your journey, the things that you have learned along the way, the things that you desire to learn, you want to know, and also your expertise and your experience, and how you can take all of those things and turn it into a story that can be a help, a blessing to someone else to learn from. So I want you to think about this for a moment, right? And this is all a part of the setup. But I want you to think about this for a moment. I want you to think, in your life, has somebody's story impacted you in your life? Because the one thing I don't think we realize is we take from others their stories. You know, we see others, we pick up things along the way. But do you realize how powerful that story you just read, or you just heard, or you saw on television, that story, how it has impacted your life in a way? And it could be any way to motivate you to your next level. It could have actually let you know, I absolutely never want to do anything like that in my life, you know. But I want you to really think about that, because as you start changing your mindset and how you see your story in your life, I want you to think about the power in your story. Okay, so now what I want to do for those that are chiming in, just let me know. Let me know once again, and I'm going to be saying this throughout. If you are someone that I want you to put in the comments Number one, if you are a published author. Number two, if you are a best-selling published author. Or number three, if you desire to become a published author. So I want you to put either one, two, or three in the comments if it's you. Now, let's get into this learning, okay? So HOV, which is Hope of Vision Publishing, it's bite-sized learning series. Every fourth Friday, a part of Authors Brew Friday, we will be having this platform to be able to give you some teachings that can really help you if you desire to be a writer, or if you're already a writer, a published writer that just needs some more insight on how you can take your story and bring it to the masses. Okay, so we're turning your life lessons into legacy and your voice into value. So remember, your stories are currency. I'm just going to break it down for you so you get a better understanding of how that works. All right. All right, guys. So let's look at this in this topic today. So in today's brew, yes, it's going to be bold, it's going to be intentional, and it's going to be packed with purpose, because that's what we do here on Morning Brew, right? It is about pouring into purpose. So we're here kicking off. This is the first time ever. This is our launch, our debut launch for kicking off every fourth Authors Brew, fourth Fridays. We will be talking about HOVP, Bite-Sized Learning Series. And that's because this whole segment is sponsored by Hope of Vision Publishing, okay? But we're going to really break it down. In the first, we're going to focus on right now how your stories are currency. It is designed how you can turn your personal experiences into profitable, purpose-driven products and platforms. All right. So I don't want to move too fast because it's going to be quite a bit of information. So the good thing is this is live, but you can always go and play it back to pick up what you was not able to get, or you could just take notes while we're here. Okay. All right. So let's kind of get into it. Whew. All right. So one of the things I talked about, right? Too often people sit on their stories, believing there's several things. One, my story might be a little too messy, it's too painful, or it's just too ordinary to matter. Nobody really, they're not concerned with my story, right? If that is your thought, I want you to cancel that out right now. I want you to cancel that thought out that your story does not matter, because it does. All right. So after this, hopefully after today's teachable, bite-sized teachable lessons, I hope that you are able to see your story in a different way. Okay, so let's kind of dig a little deeper. But what if you struggle? What if your struggles was the seed? Think about that. What if your struggles and what you went through was the seed? What if your lesson was the leverage? What if your truth was the tool someone else needed? And you could earn from it while healing through it? Okay, I want you guys to just think about those things, okay? Do you need me to go back through that for you? I want you to think about those things. These are things I want to really be able to help shift your mindset of how you see your story. Okay? So let me just go through that once again, okay? What if your struggle was the seed that you are going to plant? Okay? What if your lesson was the leverage? And what if your truth was the tool someone else needed? And then you could also earn from it while you're healing through it? Okay, I see the power in that. I'm not sure if you do, but I do. I see the power in that. So let me break this down a little more, right? And remember what I said earlier is that if you think about your life, who was the story that you read? that answered those questions as they were going through what they were going through, but you decided to pick up their book to read their story. Or if you didn't pick up a book, maybe you watched it on television as a TV series, or maybe you watched it as a film. But whose story was that you were able to read, to see, and it transformed your life? And it may be more than one. So I want you to really start seeing how this is like, oh, okay, my story could be. People are affected by my story, even if I don't have a book in the market, or I don't have a TV show in the market or a movie. People have told me they are affected by my story, my journey, and stuff like that. I want you to pay attention to all those things, okay? Pay attention to those things. Hello in Will 69. Welcome to Morning Brew with Germaine. Good to have you on. And we also have Alun, I know I'm probably saying that real wrong, underscore AB. But thank you so much for chiming in on Instagram to Morning Brew with Germaine. And today is Authors Brew Friday. And this is every fourth Friday, we will be teaching on bite-sized learning from Hope Vision Publishing for those that are interested in knowing how their stories are currency. So every fourth Friday, we're going to really be teaching these things. Is going to be different topics, but it's really going to be able to equip you to see your story more than you see it, but see it as power and see it as currency. So let's break some things down. So remember those things that I put out there for you. What if struggle was the seed? What if your lesson was the leverage? What if your truth was the tool someone else needed, and you could earn from this while you're healing and going through it? That's powerful in itself. Hey, Harmon Entertainment Group, thank you for chiming in today. So let me say this. As you start looking at your story, I want you to start thinking about your story. Think about your life journey. What is that story? So just ask yourself the question. You can share it in a group, but you don't have to, okay? This is really for you in these teachable moments, this training platform. What is my story? That's a question I want to leave with you to ask, okay? What is my story? All right, so while you let that marinate, while you let that brew a little and steep a little, right? Really think on that. So let's get a little more into this. So pretty much some of the goals that I really want you to be able to walk away with is how can I unpack and uncover my story, right? How can my story turn into currency? You see, I didn't say money, I said currency, because there's different ways that your story can be profitable for you, right? So let me break things down. So me as a publisher, as I stated, 17 going on 18 years as a book publisher, I know this is a part of my assignment. I absolutely love the work that I do. I love helping to be a midwife to others, to help them birth and push out their stories into the marketplace. I absolutely get joy from that when I see the expression of joy on your face as you hold your baby, your book, your story in your hand for the first time. I get so much joy out of that. And so in this process, so I'm saying that because I have a lot of children that I help birth, right? So, but in this process, it's not just the book. I always say your story becomes a byproduct of something far greater, your story, far greater than just a book. So what if, and I'm going to use a few examples from some of the authors that I've worked with in the past, that's a part of the Hope of Vision Publishing family, that's been with me. Some have been with me as long as we've been around, right? Some have been with me over 10 years. I have some that have published and birthed out 10 books or more, bestseller books also. But what I want to say is when they started with me, they were probably just like you. They did not know that they could see their book go to the entire world and people buy it, engage in their story, give them feedback, and they profit from it. They probably didn't see that when they first came to me. Now, people have different whys and why they come. and they sit with me and they want to tell me their story and they want to publish their book. Different whys, okay? Everybody's why may be different. I have some people that want to publish, but they're not really interested in profiting from it. They just have a desire to share their story, and that's okay. All right. And then I have some people, they want to get on the bestseller list. They want to become a number one bestseller. They want to get on the New York Times bestseller list. They want to make this a full-fledged business because a book is a product, right? And then I have others that want to turn their books into not just a book, but speaking engagements because they want to reach a larger crowd for whatever their vision and their purpose is of communicating their message out to the masses. Now, remember, this is all about your story. Okay. And so then I have others that say, hey, you know what? I have a message, I have a word, I have a story that I want to share, but I don't just want to share it in book format. I want to set up a podcast. I want to have this ongoing show that I can invite guests on and we talk about the topics of my story, my book, and I can engage with other people on a larger crowd. Hey, that's one of the reasons I have to be honest with you. That's one of the reasons I started Morning Brew. Morning Brew is a vehicle for me to allow people's stories to be heard on Morning Brew. So I invite people into the community to, hey, have coffee with me. Oh, and by the way, let me get a sip of my hazelnut. Hold on. Now, I'm not sure what you're drinking. You don't have to be a coffee drinker to stop by Morning Brew with Germaine, okay? I always say, hey, come with your tea, come with your water, come with your juice, your smoothie, whatever you're drinking. Just come by, stop by in the community, check in and let me know how you're doing today. Or if you want to chime in on a conversation. But that's one of the reasons I started this platform is because I thought about all those authors that I work with. And I thought about all those authors that I have not yet met. But hopefully they'll be drawn to this platform so we can talk with them on Authors Brew Friday. Or we can have conversations with those experts on Mixed Blend Wednesdays. You may be an expert in the field of medicine, in the field of leadership, education, government, whatever it is. So we've created this platform to, stretch out globally, because the one good thing about having a podcast, I have followers from all over the world. That's the one good thing. And so, with that being said, I have an opportunity to build a community and hear the diverse voices, be able to share their stories with the world. And hey, that's why I'm here. So, remember, one story, your story is bigger than you think, right? And so this is another way how your story. Now, what I'm doing is I'm breaking down different platforms for how your story is not just a story, how it is currency. Your story is currency. So as I'm breaking this down, think about brand products, right? Branded products, your story. So your story can spark journals, apparel, merchandising, clothing line, and stay tuned because Morning Brew merchandising, we'll be launching our merchandising line soon, but stay tuned, okay? But also courses. Think about that's what this is. So my bite size HOVP bite size learning is a part of my HOVP Academy that will allow courses of teaching and educating people to be able to stop by, download the course, get the information they need, and be able to set themselves up and generate multiple income streams. So, do you see where I'm going? Your story? Your story is bigger than you think, it's more powerful than you know. You just have to believe in it. Okay? You just have to believe in it. So now I just want to say, as you're thinking about what that story is, that question that I left you with, what is my story? As you're thinking about that, I hope after listening to some of this information, you're starting to see like, whoa, I didn't even think about that. whoa, my story can do all that. My story? My story? Trust me, I always say it may not be for everybody, but it's definitely for somebody. Somebody can learn something from you. Yes. And so, um, with that, let's dig, let's pour a little more, okay? And so, who might your story be for? Or who might this platform be for? Let me say this to you. Right now, anybody that's an inspiring author, someone who knows there's a book inside of them, this is for you. Anybody who's interested and know that you have a voice, you have a story, that you should be on platforms teaching and speaking and educating people around the world, then you know what, this is for you also. As well as maybe you're a coach. Maybe you're currently a coach, or maybe it's something you desire to be. Then you know what? You might want to tune in every fourth Friday, if nothing else, to Morning Brew with Germaine for Authors Brew Friday for HOVP Bite Size Learning. You might want to tune in, right? Or maybe you're just a creative mind, someone that's tired of hiding behind. Someday, maybe. Uh, Not yet. All I do, I hear myself saying that before I launch this platform here. I hear myself saying that, like, it's coming, till I know people are like, Germaine, please don't talk to me no more about you doing your podcast, because I don't know. I don't know if I even believe you anymore. But here we are, 5 days a week, right? 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, Morning Brew with Germaine, and I welcome you to stop by and have coffee with me. And so, but you know what? Yeah, it's for you too, for the creatives. And then think about the entrepreneurs. How many out there is an entrepreneur? How many out there has a business, and maybe your business is your side hustle right now because you're working full time for someone else, right? Don't despise that. Mm. Don't despise that. Build your business on the side while you're employed by someone else making that money, because that money can go, it can help to go into your business until you're at a place like, listen, I'm more profitable in my business now than I am working for somebody else, right? But I say, if you're working for somebody else, use that as a training platform to learn everything you can that can actually be applied to your business. I know you don't want to go to work today. I know you, it's like, I'm tired of this place. I just can't wait to get out of this place. Change your mindset and how you see your workplace. See it as a place of, this is a paid internship. I'm getting paid to learn on the job so I can then take these skills and apply them to my own business when I'm working full time for myself. That's what I did. I don't know the last time I worked for somebody. I fired my boss back in, I don't, you know what? It's been a long time. It's definitely been over 18 years. So, and it's a great feeling to be able to control your time, right? So, but with that, it's all about mindset shift. I want you to shift the way you see things. Okay. So, but this is for the entrepreneur also. This learning, it's not just a book, it's your story. Your story can show up in multiple platforms. Your story. So I hope with that little bit of information, you're already seeing like, oh, I need to get more of this, right? I need to get more of this. So, like I said, every fourth Friday on Morning Brew with Germaine, Authors Brew Friday, every fourth Authors Brew Friday, we will have this series of HOVP, or Hope of Vision Publishing, bite size learning, where you can learn more, be empowered, be inspired to know how powerful your story is, and that your stories are currency, right? So I want to leave you with this before we close out. Um, and like I said, I want you to keep in mind, ask yourself the question, what is the story that I want to write and put in the marketplace? And that could be a challenging question, because I think sometimes we overthink things. Don't overthink things. I want you to think about, What do you feel comfortable with? And like I said, stories come in a lot of different forms. As you can see, there's so many different genres in the book industry, so many different genres. So the good thing is, think about you. Think about your life's journey. Think about your experiences. Think about things that, people can relate to as you're thinking about the story that you want to tell. Now, the story can be autobiography, the story can be self help, it could be a guide, it could be a journal, it could be inspirational, it could be a children's book. What we're doing at Hope of Vision Publishing, we're taking people's stories and turning them into children's books to be able to convey a message to reach a larger audience from the young all the way up to the adulthood, right? So we took, as another example, working with someone that was a part of civil rights movement. She's a voice. She's in government right now in the state of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and just a powerhouse. But her story is she was at the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and she shares her story in that book. But then we decided, I just suggested to her, why don't we turn it into a children's book? Because she's been a school teacher for over 40 years. There's a whole audience of individuals that see her every day that don't know the one that sits before her, that sits before them, that has been a champion in this space of civil rights, right? So why not communicate her story in a language that young people can understand? And that's what we're doing. We're actually converting her book into a children's book that will be coming out in October. So that's just an example of your story, the power in your story. And that's just a few. We'll be sharing people's examples and stories along the course of these trainings, and even invite some of them to come on and be a part of the training. Okay. But right now, I want to focus on you. Anyone out there that's listening, that's a part of this, that's a part of the conversation right now, or that's going to pick up the conversation later on. I want to focus on you. First, define what your story is going to be and start putting it in outline form. And do not put too much pressure on yourself, okay? Don't do that. All you're doing is jotting down your ideas. That's all you're doing right now. You're writing your ideas down. Okay, we'll get to the currency part later, but the most important thing is birthing your story out of you. All right, so I want to leave that with you. Now, all right, so let's talk about this, okay, before we go into our final pour. And this is another key for you to think about. One, what part of your story are you sitting on that you know will change lives because it's changed your life, right? And it's also going to be able to give others breakthrough. And, or it could be a business model. So, like I said, I've done books on finance, businesses, anything you can think of, we've published, right? And so your story is unique, it's yours, and no one can tell it better than you. I want you to remember that. No one can tell it better than you. Here at Hope of Vision Publishing, all we want to do is be able to tell you how you can turn your stories into currency. And as I showed some of the different platforms that your story can show up in and empower others. So let's get into this section here, which we call our final sip. And in this final sip section, it's your story is not a side note. I just want to inspire and encourage you, okay, before we leave. Your story is not a side note, it's a starting point. Your lived experiences is not just emotional. I want you to think that it's economical. Even though you know all the pain that you may have endured through it, and you really don't want to relive that trauma again, this is what I tell authors that come to me, or new individuals that want to become authors that come to me, and they talk about their story, their life story, and the trauma, the level of trauma they may have dealt with. When you're writing your story, you're going to have to relive a lot of that, and it can become very, very emotional. but it can also become very therapeutic for you also. And everyone that has come through Hope of Vision to write their autobiographies and they had to relive that trauma, the one thing they always say is, wow, I didn't realize how much it would help me so I could see how far I've come by just reliving through that story again. But there are some triumph stories that I have had the pleasure and opportunity of publishing, of seeing how families that were broken, that caused a lot of pain, to see the healing of those families come through after one has published their books. Now, trust me, it wasn't easy when they first brought it to market, but the stories, the testimonies have been, I've been crying with them. It's been those type of moments. So, but I want you to not just focus on the experiences and the emotional side of it, but I want you to think beyond that, because if you went through that, I promise you somebody else is going through it or have gone through it, and they don't know where to put all these emotions at. They don't know if there's any hope for them. You could be the very answer. Your story could be the very answer that they've been praying for, to know that someone else went through this and they made it through. And I know I can too. So, and I want you to just know this. It's time to stop shrinking and start shining, start sharing. It's time to stop shrinking. That's what we do. I don't even want to be seen. I don't want nobody to know. I don't want this pain to be put out there. I will never force anyone to share the parts of their story they don't want to share. Okay. This is your journey. It's your life that you're living. And if anything or nothing else, the reason you decide you want to write a book and you may never want to release it to the world, at least you can write it to yourself. And I just had a conversation with someone, talking to them about their book, um, that don't know if they want to put it out for the world to read, but they love the idea that maybe I'll just write the story to myself. That's therapeutic. That could be the healing that they've been looking for, the release they've been looking for. Everybody's why is different. Okay. So no pressure, no pressure, no pressure, no guilt. This is your story. And however you choose to move forward with it is yours. Okay. And because I say stories are currency and you've been carrying wealth the world needs. So that's why I didn't say stories are money. Stories are currency. Wealth, your story, someone is probably waiting for it. Now, on that note, I'm going to call it quits. Okay. So this was the first segment of our Authors Brew Friday, fourth Friday, HOVP or Hope of Vision Publishing Bite Size Learning. Now, if you watch this later on and you decide to add in the comments, I'm still going to say, if you are someone, this is good information for me to know, okay? Because it helps me to also know what information you might need. So if you're someone that you're already a published author, I just want you, if you replay this back, just put 1 in the comments. If you're a best-selling author already, I want you to put 2 in the comments. And if you have a desire to become a published author, I want you to just put 3 in the comments. So if you decide to watch this later on or share this with someone else, just do that for me. All right. And at this time, this is a part in the, I want to share this. This is the first time I'm releasing this because a lot of people are asking, Germaine, how can we support your platform? And I am so appreciative. I mean, the other day, I tell you, my community had me in tears because they just started sharing even more with buying me a coffee. So I do something called Buy Me a Coffee, but I want to share this video clip with you. It's the first time that I'm releasing it. So just stand by before you leave and just take a look at it, okay? Hold on. That was, oh, here we go. This is welcome to Morning Brew with your girl Germaine on Buy Me a Coffee. Every cup you buy helps fuel inspiration, conversations, and creative content for our growing community. So grab a seat Stop by for a coffee break. Sip with us. And thank you so much for pouring into purpose with me. Morning Brew, I'll see you in the next coffee break. So, I just wanted to share that because that will be my ad that's going out for those that are asking and wanting to know how to support Morning Brew. I am so appreciative and I love you all for stopping by to have coffee with me. Hey, don't let this be a one-time thing. I'm here Monday through Fridays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's always something new. So you got to stop by and tune in and see what's going on, okay? But thank you so much for all those who stopped by for the first time. I hope you found value, inspiration, motivation in this coffee brew today. And hey, if not, you might want to stop by on Monday because we'll have more for you. Okay. But I hope you could take something away from this. Thank you so much. And I love you all. Have a great day. And please be safe out there in these streets. All right. Bye. And I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.